So many cases, I think, how deeply you studied their history, but I studied very much well about those country by country. So I know that. But of course, we don't need to wage war. We should not do that. Most severe war against China. Japanese military killed a lot of people, not like small figures. Military, no POW, killed them all. Terrible.
And I don't understand. Yeah, okay. So that is, I mean, not unique in history, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know that general by general, but Japanese people never studied Pacific U.S. war and Asia Pacific war. That's the reason why I studied war, try to figure out what is the fact is. So why Chinese people criticize Japan? Because Mao Zedong closed everything. Because at that time Mao Zedong want to make a deal with Japanese people in future, so they closed every bad wrongdoing. Only Nanjing massacre. Only focus on one incident, not one incident. Every city Japanese invade, kill them all. But they never tell that. Many people misunderstand. Japanese killed Nanjing city? No, every city. Terribly they did. But Mao Zedong just only focus on one city. Everybody focus on Nanjing, just only one city. So Suzhou, Guangzhou, every city Japanese military invaded, killed them all. So many people, more than 30 million people escaped from those areas to Chongqing. But Japanese people never studied the kind of terrible history, but they should study. So good thing, bad thing, many things happen in Asia, but still currently we can get here accurate information. Many information is very vague, but we can get accurate information from history. But nobody studied.
Right.
And also what I studied just only English. No Japanese. Japanese left side, right side. I can't believe them. So I studied in English material. A lot of English. I read it. American, overseas people, they write articles more fairly rather than Japanese people. Japanese people is majority people left side or right side. I can't get accurate information. They are telling a lie.
Well, but there's also a lot of ways that the definitions of casualties, of course, is very much open for discussion. Whether or not you include, for example, starvation. So if you look at the Indonesia, for example, the starvation numbers, there were as an estimated 2.4 million people lost their lives because of starvation, just simply because there was no food as a consequence of war.
I understand what you said. Indonesia is starvation always happening. Just now they have 50 million people starving now because of coronavirus. 50 million starving now.
15?
Yeah, 50 million starving now because they shut down their country. No business, no food. Indonesia is a kind of history starving, famine and starving. Past 100 years, many people dead.
So, if we look at these numbers, so the 2.4 million, then the number of casualties, they are also mentioned, 375,000.
Yeah, I understand. Do you know India is starving 3 million dead by British colonialism? Just 1943.
Yes. That was directly the hands of Churchill.
So what you said, like 4 million or 3 million, is for Indonesia, small figure. For starving.
Well, it's for nobody, a small figure.
I tell you, currently Indonesia, they have 15 million starving now. Indonesian government cannot help them. This is the current coronavirus problem now happening.
Well,
Okay, like Japan, they just try to control the business, try to not go outside. Japanese case is okay. They are rich. They are fluent food, fluent money. 1 month no problem. No 2 months is problem. 3 months many small company bankrupted. Indonesia, even 1 month close shut down, many people starved.
I mean, they work daily workers who they basically make enough money just to survive for that day, to have food on the table for that day. That's the reality for a lot of people.
Whether you recognize or not, 70% of Indonesia is informal workers. No security, no insurance, okay, no health care. 70%. It means if they fire, from tomorrow they don't have food.
Right.
And Indonesian government, they do not have financial, support, so they support be starved and death. This support be 50 million people are starving now. Okay, so this is kind of Asian Pacific kind of economy and environmental issues very, very impactful their people.
This is.
You said the Indonesian starving under war, 4 million is small number. Of course they starve. The island is 13,000 islands spread all over Indonesia. No transportation, no commuting. This causes them lots of problem always around. So this is we need to consider for how we're going to support them now.
Actually, I found a death by coronavirus or death by hunger. It's from the New York Times.
From now on, not yet. From now on, not yet. Many countries shut their country just only past 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So next month cause big burst for starving. Right? This is a big problem for Asia Pacific. And Japan needs to help them, but Japanese, they don't have any mind. Even for Japanese people, they don't support for small companies. And also they extend one more month to encourage them to shut down their shop. Many people bankrupted. Right? It's crazy. And because reason why all the politician is consulting for all the expert, not young people. So old people very conservative. They try to protect themselves. Not consider for Japanese people, not consider people, Asia Pacific people, how to support them. It's terrible. This is my observation, It's terrible.
Yeah,
Who's going to support Indonesia? China? Never. China is just only propaganda. Okay, China is going to send masks and medical clothes. That's it. How much is it? 50,000 US dollars. Not more than that.
Well, that's a good deal. Then maybe they can send some to here instead of
No.
letting.
They are 50,000 US dollar donation for Indonesia. They just try to get to sell 5 million US dollars to sell to Indonesia. This is Chinese people. They do. The Japanese people in the past they never do that. Just donation, support. But they do not do now. It is a very pity issue. Even Japanese government, they cannot help for Japanese people. Right? This is the current problem. I'm very serious consider for those issues.
Japan is not such a is not so okay. The consequence will be large, but there are no people who will starve here. But
not starve, just bankrupt.
India.
The Japanese government will decide 2 or 3 days later. They decide to extend one more month, close shops, It means 2 months of closure. What's happened? Many restaurants bankrupt. Why? So who's going to take care of it? Who's going to suspend Japanese economy? It's terrible. They say you should not go outside your home, but how are they going to survive? This is
yeah, okay, but on the other hand, Uno-san, if you you could also argue that, okay, so if they say we can go outside, how many people would trust that to be really true? How many people would actually go out and go to these restaurants?
This is what I wanted. This is what I want to say. How to protect you yourself? How to consider for social distance? How to try to ask them to making tests, and how to consider for tracing, like a Korea. So if like a Korea, they do it perfectly. So they do not expand their infection. Japanese, they don't know nothing at all. So nobody knows who's infected. This is a bad issue. So that's the reason why they just keep going, try to control, shut down the shops, restaurants, everything. They do not have confidence. Also, all politicians, okay, all experts, very old people and rich people, why they can understand our ordinary people's current sustained life environment, right? And furthermore, India, Afghanistan, more big problem they have, but Japanese government need to support them. Do you know Pakistan government? They decided, okay, distribute money for poorest people, only $18 a month. $18 a month. What it means? They can survive any few days.
I don't know what the income is for.
Oh, okay. Minimum income is 5 times Pakistan. You know, and all over Asia Pacific they have same problem. Every country.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, if it's going to hit countries like the African countries, then it's going to be a serious problem.
Oh, African countries.
They have no reserves.
Ed, African country is exception. We cannot help them. Too many.
Right. But I mean, they effectively would be very difficult to lock these people down. And
okay, what I'm talking about, why I'm talking about African people, they have not ambulance car. They have no
I see.
what's a ambulator? What is this? And oxygen.
So and what's it called?
Some kind of
so it's a pump. Yeah, so
equipment. No equipment, and also they have almost none of beds. ICU.
Yeah. ICU.
So they just birth. Everybody should die. Cannot support them. Only well prepared country is South Africa. This is exactly the same as Europe. Top end service they can provide. That's only for rich people, only for white people, not black.
Yeah, and a lot of people live together in small houses.
Yeah, so
risk of infection is.
That's right. So no way to help them. But many countries, average age is under 20. So death rate is 0.001. No over 80, no over 70. So very few people will be dying. So we don't concern about Africa.
Right. There seems to be a very strong correlation with like obesity, age, smoking, all these things. That's not very prevalent in these countries.
One example problem in Iran. Why problem in Iran? I tell you, no medicine. Because American sanctions, they cannot export anything medicine from Westerners.
But basically, nobody has medicine against corona, right?
No. Iran is just only nothing. No medicine. That's what they are doing is they try to revive herb medical treatment. This is 1,000 years ago. Pali ages, they try to fix their body for the herb treatment. Very old-fashioned. Never save any person. So that's the reason Iranian people did so high level. No treatment, no equipment there. Asia Pacific a little bit better, but still, like we just like Indonesia, is 250 million. No way to save them. No way to save them. Very few beds. That caused a lot of problem, but we can't say anything. But
Right.
at least most democratic countries, advanced democratic countries, Japan needs to support them, but they do not do that. They do not do that.
Well, I think to some extent, Japan has been doing a long time what U.S. has been doing recently. That is making sure that we are all right first, and we are looked after, and that we have nothing to worry about economically, financially, before we are starting to reach out. Eh?
Yeah, so American recently retreat supporting Asia Pacific, not only Asia Pacific but all over the
Not only everywhere.
they try to
everywhere.
they try to focus on their domestic.
Yeah. So this is a really like if you look at these casualty rates, I mean they might not be completely accurate, but they come from a few decades of policies where countries have started to prioritize themselves and close their borders and impose import duties and start to become more autonomous. I mean, if we look back in history,
exactly.
We wonder how we look at this period and say, okay, well, this is where the seeds of a new world war were made. It was very clear that if you look at how the tone of the United States changed, and say America first and closing borders and blaming others. This is like if you look at history, it looks to me that the next steps are very easily made. If we don't change this quickly, this could really go the wrong way. And then the numbers that we are reading in the papers right now, COVID will be nothing compared to the death rates that we see as a result of World War II.
That's right.
Much higher.
That's right. So now recently China pretend to support the rest of the world. Pretend.
Right. Yeah, it's a PR offensive.
Yeah, they pretend. So which country need to support in Asia Pacific? Only Japan.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that what China is doing is kind of a knee-jerk reaction because basically they have been accused by the U.S., accused by a lot of other countries that they did not, that they were basically the root cause of the coronavirus. And now they are kind of like pointing back and saying, well, it was not us, it's you. And if you look at the economic growth statistics in China, they are not looking good. And as you mentioned before, the legitimacy of the Chinese government solely depends on the growth statistics.
Oh.